Hey everyone, and welcome back to Action for Assange. Much to discuss, which is crazy since we're in just like this weird holding period that we're always kind of in. We're in a perpetual state of wait in this case. I tell you, it's exhausting. Sleepy's here too, by the way, in the back.
Hey, everybody.
There he is, Sleepy Josh. Andrew was gonna come. He has a. I think that guy might have like the worst luck ever. I'm pretty sure.
He does.
Yeah, it's always something like, and not like little somethings. Like it's always big somethings with Andrew, and I'm laughing, but only just because I don't even know what to say. It's terrible. So he will not be here. Hopefully he'll be able to pop in on an upcoming vigil at some point. But there is some stuff that I wanted to go over. That's why I wanted to jump on. So me and Sleepy are here. We got a video we're going to check out, an article from salon.com, which has confused
Is a
me.
gem.
It is. It's confused me a little bit because there are people in the Assange. I hate saying the Assange movement because that sounds so, I don't know, weird. I don't know what else to say. So people in the Assange movement are like retweeting it like it's great. I'm like, do we live on another planet? Are we on different planets? Because the article to me is not good. It's not good. There are good things about it, and I always appreciate coverage. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think we can let stuff like this just slide by. You'll see. We're gonna get into it. I'm ruining my my own hype here on the article. And then we're going to talk about, obviously, Collateral Murder. So for those of you who may not know, today is the 14th anniversary of the release of the Collateral Murder video. So I want to get into that, talk a little bit about that. We're going to watch a video clip where Assange is talking about it. And then there's a couple different pieces I would like to, if I can. It's like a 38-minute long video, I think, but I'm pretty sure I know a roundabout location or timestamp where they are, but and I'm sure that those of you who, and if you're watching this, you've probably already seen Collateral Murder probably more than once. So I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But there's a couple audible things that happen in that video that are so unbelievably disturbing. There are things that are said, and I think it's more the way that they're said that freak me out a little bit. So I always like to highlight those so that we can discuss the disgusting culture of war. It's mind-blowing. So yeah, but first let's do numbers. So I think, and I just did it this way for this week, but before we were doing how many days since Craig Murray had been released, how many days since, Daniel Hale was arrested, Daniel Hale was sentenced, all of that stuff. And it was getting very cluttered. And like the Craig Murray thing has been a fair distance, a fair amount of time has distanced us from that event. So I think I just want to break it down a little bit and just focus it on Assange again. And then, we may add some other people in there if things happen or whatever. So it's been 4,868 days of illegal and arbitrary detention for journalist and publisher Julian Assange. It's been 1,821 days since the WikiLeaks founder was essentially kidnapped from the Ecuadorian embassy and put in Belmarsh prison. April 11th marks 5 years, which is, I honestly, Sleepy, cannot believe I'm saying that out loud. 5 years, which also is 1,827 days that he's been in Belmarsh, which is
depressing.
It's not. I don't know if astonishing is the right word. Depressing.
I'm a little like surprised it's gone on this long.
Yeah, but I was also we
always said they were going to drag it out, but I didn't know how long they were going to drag this shit out.
They said 25 years in the Stratford files, those emails.
It's true.
I guess I shouldn't be super surprised that it's been 5 years, but I'm more surprised that they've been able to do it for so long with so little pushback. You know what I mean? Like it feels like nobody cares much. When I say nobody, I don't mean nobody, like zero people. Obviously we're here like right now. But for the vast majority of the population either don't know about it. They've done a very effective job at silencing the issue entirely so that people just don't even know what's happening or how it impacts them. Or they just don't care. Like I don't know what it is. Anyways, okay. So it's been 1,185 days since he was denied bail by Judge Vanessa Breitzer, which was just 2 days after she denied the extradition request and called for his release, which I was a little more than a little confused by. On January 4th, she denied the extradition request based on mental health conditions and the horrendous conditions of the U.S. prison system. And in that statement that she gave for that denial, she also called for his release. And then 2 days later, she denied him bail. It's very strange, Vanessa. I'm not sure
Very strange.
about. Yeah. Okay, so those are the key dates in terms of Assange on the big things that we like to point out. But also, I wanted to point out that we have there are 11 days left until the recently announced deadline for the U.S. to submit their assurances. Whatever that means. And those assurances are to cover questions of Assange and whether or not his First Amendment will be protected, which they've already said out loud that it would not. Whether or not he would be treated differently because he's not an American citizen, and the issue of the death penalty. They want that taken off the table, which they can say and then go back on quite easily. So,
Yeah, they just have to add. They just have to add add new charges.
yeah. And the last time, here we go getting sidetracked again, but the last time they entered assurances in was right after that. We were just talking about when he was denied bail, that January 4th decision. Right after that came down, they appealed. And in that appeal, they offered up some quote unquote assurances that we promise we're going to be nice to Julian Assange. Pinky swear. We really will, guys. Promise. But then in that same, whatever it was, statement, legal document, whatever it was, they gave themselves a backdoor option that if we'll be really nice unless he says or does something that we don't like. You know what I mean? And that was their assurances. Really, who takes assurances from the United States of America seriously at all? Does anybody on planet Earth think that they are actually going to stand by something they say ever? Do they
No.
ever? I mean, I guess when Biden said nothing will fundamentally change, he was telling the truth. So, I mean, I guess I do tell the truth sometimes. Come on, guys. Assurances. It's silly. Okay. And then also, there are 45 days until the next loosely scheduled court date, assuming that the U.S. will submit their assurances, which I think we all know that they will. Maybe not. Wouldn't it be cool if they were just like, yeah, fuck it. We're tired of doing this. We're just not going to submit the assurances. I'm not sure.
I mean, I'd take it.
Absolutely. I honestly think, guys, I think that they are trying to figure out a way to back out of this while also saving face. I think that they can't appear to have lost. Do you know what I mean? They need to maintain that sort of illusion of strength and all of that, and power and control and all of that stuff. So, but I really don't think they want to extradite him here. I think they would love if he would die in jail. I think they would love that. But I think that if that's not going to happen, I think that they would really just like to wash their hands of it at this point. It's become, I think we've reached that critical mass where there's enough people now that care about it, that if they do bring him here, it's going to cause problems for them. And I just don't think that they really want to go through all that. I don't think they want to open those cans of worms. So anyways, those are the numbers that I did for today. Again, I don't mean to I'm not oh, fuck Craig Murray. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm doing. I wanted to clean it up a little bit. It felt like we were getting really in the weeds trying to talk about Joshua Schulte and Daniel Hale and Craig Murray and Reality Winner and Chelsea Manning and Jeremy Hammond, and trying to give numbers for all of these people, all of which are extremely important. But I just wanted to kind of bare bones it and just try to get a feel for where we're at. And then maybe we need to start a David McBride counter. He should be getting his sentencing soon. There's been some weird delays and stuff like that, but he's facing, I think, is it 40 years? Is that right, Sleepy? Is it 40?
Something like that.
No, I get them all mixed up in my head. I want to say it's 40. But we should try to get him on a vigil too. Oh, and also when we did the court decision, the non-decision decision, when we did the early morning live stream, and that amazing guy was outside on the megaphone, and I was like, we need to get that guy on this show. I'm in touch with him. So yeah, I'm gonna he's not super tech savvy. Hello, my guy. Did we just become best friends? So he was a little worried about that. And I told him it's super easy. It's just like a link. So we're going to get it all figured out. I'm going to work around his schedule as much as I possibly can. Because I don't care. I just want to talk to him. So that should be coming soon.
I mean, worst case, we can always record it.
Yeah, like I don't mind doing that. I can be very flexible, generally speaking. Okay, so the reason, obviously, we wanted to jump on today because it is the anniversary of the Collateral Murder video release. So we are going to talk about that later. But there was also a couple of things that were going on in the land of Assange.
You want
all
that
right.
video first?
Yeah, let's pull the video up. So this is a recent video. What was this? 2 days ago?
It was super recent.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 days ago. I'm sorry, I'm very thirsty today. I'm very dehydrated. So a couple days ago, there was a video from the. Am I pulling this one up, Sleepy?
No, we have this one uploaded. You want to set it up first because it'll kill your audio.
Okay. Yeah. So this was a press room video where they were asking Karine Jean-Pierre about Julian Assange, which shout out to, I'm blanking on his name. I'm trying to look it up real quick. Oh, dang it. I hate it when I forget names.
I think I have a link. Hold on.
That's what I'm trying to find.
The Curtis something?
Oh, I'm so terrible at names. I'm so sorry. I follow this guy too. Steve Nelson. Thank you. Whew, that was really hurting my head. So Steve Nelson is a DC reporter with the New York Post, which listen, but I appreciate the fact that he asked the question. It does not get asked very often. So he asked Karine Jean-Pierre about Julian Assange and the issue of press freedom and the warnings that have been given to the White House about the implications. And it goes about as well as you would expect it to. But let's play that.
All right, here we go.
About press freedom, our government appears to be closer to potentially extraditing Julian Assange. Press freedom groups say that the case threatens to criminalize our profession. So I'm wondering what the White House's thinking is regarding that matter and the potential threat to press freedom. Does the White House have a stance on the pending federal press shield legislation that passed the House and that Senator Schumer told me he hopes reaches President Biden's desk this year?
You're talking about the Press Act more specifically. Yes. Look, and I've said this many times. I've said this last week, where journalism is not a crime. We've been very clear about that. And as it relates to this particular legislation, I haven't reviewed it. Would have to talk to our Office of Leg Affairs on that particular legislation. But I do want to say, back in October of 2022, the Justice Department codified a policy to ban subpoenas of journalist records. The president strongly supports the right of free and independent press. That is something that the president talked about when he was at the Gridiron. The president talked about this at the last White House Correspondents' Dinner. He's been very consistent about this, and I'll just quote him for a second. A free press is a pillar of any free society, and while we may not always agree with certain coverage or admire it, we do admire the courage of the free press. Journalism, again, is not a crime.
Before moving on, just to confirm, no stance yet on the Press Act that you're aware of, and the Assange matter, is there concern about that?
I don't have much more to share besides what I just laid out here, so I'll just leave it as what I just stated to you.
Y'all.
Dude, she was like reading from a script.
I was seething. Like that whole time just now, even watching it again, I'm seething the whole time she's talking. Journalism is not a crime. Really? Because it sure does seem to be a crime in certain circumstances when certain people don't agree with the journalism.
I love how they hijacked our fucking slogan.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. And y'all, they do this all the time. The rank hypocrisy on display here is, I mean, impressive. Frankly, it's impressive that she can stand there with a straight face and say the words that she just said. Joe Biden supports a strong and free and independent media, and journalism is not a crime. And I mean, did she really just stand up there and say all that stuff? Especially given that she was just specifically asked about Julian Assange. This was not just like a broad question about journalism, like, you know, the Free Press Act or whatever they got going on over there, or whatever kind of shenanigans they're planning. She was specifically asked about the the case of Julian Assange. So after just having been asked about a journalist who is currently being held in a supermax prison on remand on the behalf of the United States because they want to prosecute him for journalism, for her to stand up there and say those words, holy cow. It's just amazing, the ability for them to just turn off self-awareness. You know what I mean? Like, how does she do that? It's fascinating to me. But and every World Press Freedom Day is coming up. I think it's May 3rd.
Oh man, those tweets are going to be gross.
Here they come. Here it comes. You know it's Sleepy. This is one of my favorite times of the year because it's Antony Blinken and Kamala Harris. And Pompeo, who literally plotted to assassinate Julian Assange. Like, literally. All of them. Hillary Clinton. We'll talk. She asked if we could drone the guy. I mean, but every single World Press Freedom Day, every single whatever, all of those days, all of those, anytime that they're asked about the broad principle of press freedom. Oh, they're all for it. And then you ask them about Assange. I don't have anything to add to that. That's what she said. I don't have anything else to add to that other than what I just said. You didn't say anything. It was a bunch of words, but you said nothing. Oh, it's so frustrating to me. But again, thank you to, what's his name again? Steve Nelson. Thank you, Steve Nelson. Everybody go thank him for asking the question. I think it's important to do that because getting journalists to talk about this, like good journalists too, Sleepy, people who used to understand how important it is. Stop talking about it. It's very frustrating. I'm not going to call anybody out. 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 I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
I think that was part of the plan. I mean, you drag that shit on long enough, people, some people are going to.
Yes.
Stop.
It's just frustrating because it is legitimately people that like I like hyped the fuck out of and like they just stopped. Okay, I gotta stop. Okay.
Breathe, Misty.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. Like now is not the time to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Now is not the time for that at all. We need all the noise. Loud as possible, please. That would be great. Okay. So yeah, I just wanted to play that again. Go thank Steve Nelson. He is at Steven Nelson 10 on Twitter. Go just shoot him a quick thanks for asking the question. That's all you got to say. You don't got to. He's still the New York Post, right? You don't got to kiss his ass, but just thanks for asking the question because I would like more of them to do that. Okay, let's go to Salon. Did you want me to pull that up?
Yeah, you need to pull that one up. So you can scroll it as you're reading it.
Yeah, that'll be better for me anyways. Okay, and this, I'm going to warn you, is a little lengthy, and I'm going to get, there's going to be rants. There will be rants. I don't know if I need to warn you guys about that at this point anymore. It's been going on for so long. But there you have it. You've been warned. Okay, this is from Brian Karam. Karam? I don't know. Fuck it. So how do I want to, I don't know if I should set this up with his shenanigans. We'll go through the article and then I'll show you who he is. Okay. So they decided to get even with him. Trump's revenge against Julian Assange broke the media. Did it though? I mean, yes, it did, but okay, here we go. As divisive as politics have become in this country, there is one thing upon which most people agree. The media sucks. Starts off strong, right? Excellent. Yes, we all agree. The media sucks. No question about it.
Hey, make the text a little bigger.
Hold, please. Better there?
Yeah.
Okay. We've heard it all. The New York Times online is just a word puzzle page. Yeah. Legacy media is dying. Yes. Online viewing on news sites is down. Reporters are hacks. Editors are worse. And about the only institution trusted less in the media is Congress, thanks to Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Jim Jordan, and James Comer, among others. Notice he only mentions, I think those are all Republicans, right? Right?
I believe so.
I think so. I'm not super familiar with James Comer. At least I'm shit at names. It's not ringing a bell. I think I've heard it, but I don't know.
Well, at least he starts up as bias at the beginning.
Yes. That continues. Okay, here we go. While all of this is to some extent true, it is all true, yes. You've got to wonder why we got there. Did big media bosses suddenly decide they'd be shills for no reason? No, fuckface. They were bots. for no reason. He acts as if there's like not billions of dollars being spent to control media. It's a real mystery. It must be Donald Trump. Or was there something else involved? I'll cut to the chase. Politicians from all walks of life denigrate journalists. They may cheer for a single report they agree with, but will turn and lambast the same reporter or publication when they do not. It is politicians, particularly every president since Ronald Reagan, who are responsible for the decline of the press. So it's all politicians are mean to journalists, and that's why journalists suck. Last week in the White House briefing room, the Biden administration rallied for Evan Gershkovich, a Wall Street Journal reporter charged in Russia with espionage, who has spent a year in prison because he did his job in Putin's Russia. I love that it's Putin's Russia. The AP reported in January there are more than 300 journalists jailed around the world for simply doing their job. There's probably more. There's definitely more. Across the globe, more and more reporters are being jailed and killed. We are called the quote-unquote fake media, propagandists, and idiots, because you are. On the left, we are called enablers who engage in false equivalency. From the right, we are called libtards, communists, fascists, and the quote mainstream liberal media, end quote. In the meantime, various media organizations have reported that at least 77 members of the press have died trying to cover the war in Gaza since it began last October. It's more than that. Those are cases of literally shooting the messenger. Metaphorically, our audience long ago settled on blaming us for the news they did not like. Members of governments do this and get people questioning reality. Their goal is deflection and deception. They want you to blame us so you don't call them into question. Every government does it. Some do it better than others. This is why this makes me angry. No, this is not as what is happening. This is not what's happening. Do politicians point fingers at the media when they, of course they do. Yes, that's part of the job. That is part of, here's why people don't like the media, because you are bought off, corrupt, and entirely entrenched in the establishment, period, end of story. All of the mainstream, even some of the independent or alternative media are completely corrupt. They're bought off. And it is so unbelievably apparent and obvious that it is embarrassing that he is pretending as if the reason why people don't trust or the media is because politicians told them to not trust the media. No, do you have sleepy, y'all? Just in this, we could go to the Guardian. We could go to the Guardian right now. Right now, we want to talk about Julian Assange. Let's go to the Guardian right now. And I have it pulled up. This is from Tuesday, the 27th of November, 2018, where our good friend Luke Harding wrote an article in The Guardian talking about Paul Manafort visiting Julian Assange in the Ecuadorian embassy. He even goes so far as to invent a whole ass outfit that Paul Manafort supposedly wore to visit the most famous political prisoner on planet Earth in the most surveilled building on planet Earth. And somehow there's no video evidence of him ever going there. He never signed in. There's no witnesses ever saw Paul Manafort coming to the Ecuadorian embassy. This is why people don't trust the media. Weapons of mass destruction. That's why people don't trust the media. You guys are corrupt. You get your information from the people you're supposed to be holding accountable. You're propagandists. You're nothing but stenographers. You just write what you're told to write. You lie. You lie us into wars. I mean, seriously, this guy acting like the reason why people don't trust the media is because politicians are mean to them. What? Insane. That's not the case, sir. You are delusional. Okay. So he continues, of course, here we go. Ready? Russia is great at this. And he's discussing the deflection and deception. The politicians want you to blame the media so that you're not calling them into question. Well, you're supposed to be calling them into question. That's your job, my guy. You're supposed to be calling them into question. You do not. You run cover for them. Okay. Anyway. Okay. He continues, Russia is great at this. So is North Korea, and so is every tin horn dictator and second-class banana republic on the planet. But one country has led the way. One country has provided the blueprint for everything done across the globe to journalists, the United States. He's absolutely correct there. No question about it. People keep trying to pretend like it's Russia or North Korea is so terrible or whatever. Nobody does this more than the United States of America, period. Okay, so I take no joy in saying it, but the United States is devolving into a pettiness unseen in my lifetime. The lack of education and the horrible state of journalism is to blame. Ronald Reagan and every president since has contributed to our demise. Reporters Without Borders ranks the U.S. 45th among all nations for a free press, and that is too high. And I'm angry with Reporters for Borders. I think we talked about that a while ago. It's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. We are a troubled democracy. Ugh. There are nearly 3 times the number of people on this planet as on the day I was born, and a quarter of a number of reporters. Media consolidation created this problem. 6 companies now own more than 90% of what you see, read, or hear. I talk about that all the time. Our federal government, beginning with Reagan, made media consolidation possible with the same logic that brought us trickle-down economics. Neither has worked. Both are detrimental to the body politic. Yes, Reagan began that, but y'all, and this paragraph I think is really important, because it highlights exactly what I try to explain to people when they try to pretend like lesser of evil voting makes sense, or that it matters which party you vote for. It does not. They are both working, Republicans, Democrats, owned and operated by the exact same people with very few exceptions. I would argue there's 0 exceptions, at least at the federal level. There are 0 exceptions. They're all bought to some degree, or they're all controlled to some degree. Whether it's, they want to self-preservation, they want to keep their job, whatever it is, they're all controlled in some way by the same exact people. So this is not, Reagan did this awful thing and then, he didn't have any help. Reagan got it started, but then they used Bill Clinton. And I've heard, like, Jimmy Doris talked about this before. They use Democrats to do what Republicans can't get away with, and they use Republicans to do what Democrats can't get away with. And that is how they manage to push through all of this nonsense while nobody's paying attention. And this is exactly one of them. The media consolidation issue was started by Reagan, but they used Bill Clinton to shove it down everybody's throat with the Telecommunications Act of 1996. And that was it. That was really the day that we lost press freedom. I mean, really, if we want to be honest about it, that was when it was lost there. But I mean, whatever illusion or whatever thin thread that we are hanging on to at this point, it's certainly dead with Assange. There's no question about it. Okay, so he goes on to say, our federal government, beginning with Reagan, I think I already did that. Yes, computers aren't to blame. The internet isn't to blame. Poor management, chain store marketing, and massive layoffs due to what our government has done to journalism. Those are the causes of our problem. While the current presidential administration has often cheered the free press from the podium of the Brady briefing room, and while President Joe Biden himself has many times said he supports us, he has also contributed to our demise. Yes. Do not misunderstand me. This isn't a false equivalence. This is a fact. The 2 presidents who've contributed the most to the decline of journalism are Ronald Reagan and the Orange Dawn, with Trump being by far the worst. I don't know if I agree with that. I mean,
what was that thing that Clinton signed? What was it again?
The Telecommunications Act of 1996. I would say that's arguably the worst thing that's happened to journalism. I would say that's my opinion. But then also to ignore the fact that it was Barack Obama who went after more whistleblowers and journalists with the Espionage Act than all other presidents combined. We're just going to forget about that part. We're just going to forget about the fact that it was under him that the whole thing with Assange was open up to begin with. We're just going to ignore that part too. Are we just going to, I mean, seriously.
This is such a gross piece.
Yes. It's so obviously partisan and revisionist and ridiculous, frankly.
Well, I mean,
again,
he only put stuff in here that is favorable to Democrats.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, he pushes back.
Look, like both, this is a one-party system. They all hate the fucking press.
Yes. And they're all, y'all, again, that's what I'm trying to say. They're all owned and operated by the same people. They all hate their secrets being exposed. They don't like a free press. And none of them give a shit. None of them care about this. Joe Biden doesn't care. Donald Trump doesn't care. None of them care. Barack Obama would have went after Julian Assange if he wasn't absolutely legacy obsessed. He was legacy obsessed. He didn't want to be known as the president that destroyed the First Amendment. And I don't blame him. Trump has no issue with that. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's used to being the heel, right? Like, that's what he does. That's the role he's always played. He's fine with that role. He doesn't care. I mean, that's his
jam.
Paid. Yeah. I mean, it's just this whole, and the idea that people don't like and trust journalists and the mainstream media because like Donald Trump was mean to Jim Acosta is so fucking stupid. I can't even wrap my head around that logic. To just completely ignore the reality of the fact that our mainstream media is 100% corporate controlled. 100%. I mean, listen, WikiLeaks, the guy that he's supposedly defending here, which we're going to talk about him defending Assange, because no. But seriously, the idea that, I don't know, This guy out here pretending like we
I
don't like
I love
media.
I love this next bit about, you know.
Here, let's get into it. Because I want to go through this whole thing because there's several things that jumped out at me. And again, because people are gonna come at me, oh my god, I can't believe you're complaining. At least he covered it. Okay, sure, but I'm also not down to just let these douche canoes stroll up in and act like they've always been on the right side of this, and then skew the issue, manipulate people, rewrite history, rewrite reality, confuse people. No, we're not doing that. We worked far too hard to get this issue in front of people to allow this douche canoe to come in and be like, no, Trump's mean to Jim Acosta. That's the problem. It's mean tweets. You know what I mean? I'm not down for that. We're not doing that. Sorry, not doing it. Okay, so he continues, but even as Biden continues to speak about busting up monopolies, not once has he indicated the need to do so when it comes to newspapers, television, radio, or social media. And while Biden asks us to remember Gershkovich, who is remembering Julian Assange, me, have been for years, lots of people for years. Again, we're going to talk about who this guy is and things that he has said about Julian Assange in just a moment. Russia has changed Gershkovich with espionage. The American government has charged Assange for nearly the same thing. And in less than a week, he'll have been in prison for 5 years without ever coming to trial. Assange went to prison. Jump in anytime you want, Sleepy, by the way. Assange went to prison for actions former Attorney General Eric Holder said were similar to those taken when the New York Times and the Washington Post published the Pentagon Papers. Publishing the secrets of government is what we should be in the business of doing. Today we publish swill because we cannot get anything better, lest we risk going to prison. So
what happened before they jailed him? Because it was swill then too.
Yes.
They act like it's only been swill since Assange has been locked up. That ain't the fucking case. Assange
no, it is not.
Wouldn't have had to make WikiLeaks if the media was doing their fucking job to begin with.
Exactly. Thank you. And instead, the media does the opposite of what it's supposed to do and just regurgitates what they're told to publish by people in power. I mean, again, weapons of mass destruction, anybody? Really?
Like this next little part is the part that pisses me off.
All right,
like
here we go.
Just whitewashing the shit out of
Yes.
Biden's part in this.
Yes. Okay, here we go. That's what Assange did. The Obama administration, of which Biden was a part, decided not to prosecute Assange for what he did. The lunatic Trump changed that. Nothing is more indicative of the need to make sure that Donald Trump never gets back in office than what his weaponized Department of Justice did to Assange.
Biden could have dropped the fucking charges.
Yeah. On day one.
Why the fuck doesn't he see this guy is a turd, dude?
Yes. And listen, again, it is absolutely under Donald J. Trump. Trump supporters, I need you to hear me, please. Don't shut your brain off because this is uncomfortable for you. But it was under your guy that Julian Assange was arrested. It was under your guy that he was spied on in the Ecuadorian embassy. And it was under your guy that plots to assassinate or kidnap him were developed. That was under Donald J. Trump. You need to absorb that information and deal with it. So many Trump supporters still trying to pretend like that's not reality.
Oh, he's going to get back in and pardon him. I'm like, what the? You're dumb. He didn't do
Why
it
did he
last
have
time.
him
Why would he do it
arrested
this
in the
time?
first place? If he was going to pardon him, just don't arrest him.
Yeah,
It's really my favorite is it's not his fault that he didn't know what he was doing and he surrounded himself with the wrong people and blah blah blah.
Like he ain't gonna do that again?
Yes, he's useless and he knows what he's doing. The idea, come on, you guys. The idea, you really don't understand that he's just part of the system. He's just really you think somebody who's not okayed by people in power just becomes president? You think that happens? Of course it does not. It does not. It's absurd that people, grown adults, still think that he became president based on votes. Oh, that's some funny shit. Okay. So here we go. Quote, people understand what Julian did. This is Gabriel, his brother. He published information that embarrassed the United States government. They decided to get even with him. Not just get even with him, also use him as the warning. He's been turned into the warning shot. Human Rights Watch, also on my shit list, noted the importance of the Assange case when it first came to light nearly 15 years ago. Quote, this is a signature moment for freedom of expression and information in both the U.S. and abroad. This is Dinah Pokempner. She's general counsel at HRW. Prosecuting WikiLeaks for publishing leaked documents would set a terrible precedent that will be eagerly grasped by other governments, particularly those with a record of trying to muzzle legitimate political reporting. Yeah, like the United States. Yes, it will also be used by other countries to do the exact same thing, which is fucked up that we're going to open that opportunity globally. But again, this is just trying to deflect away. Well, other countries are now going to do this terrible thing that we're doing. Stop it. The DOJ under Donald Trump pursued Assange. That was predictable after Trump decided to tear down and undo everything done during the Obama administration. Yeah, you mean like going after
it down? He wouldn't have charged him because the whole thing was developed under fucking Obama to begin with.
Yes.
So his whitewashing is gross.
Yes. Again, also, Barack Obama went after more journalists and whistleblowers with the Espionage Act than all other presidents combined. Stop it. Pretending like Obama, so he did all these amazing things for press freedom and Trump had to just tear it all down. That is not the case. That's not what happened.
He laid the groundwork for him to come in and finish the fucking job. That's
they had like a whole task force set up to like try to figure out how they could actually go after Assange. And it not damage his legacy. And they couldn't figure it out because of the New York Times problem. And so they left it for Trump. And Trump was selected and got in there and did the horrible thing that I think most people would not want to do. And he has no problem doing those types of things. So, but Assange has spent more time in prison under the Biden administration than he did during the Trump administration. He sits in a dank cell in England while he fights extradition to the United States. His brother said that it is having a serious effect on him. He's 52, but he looks much older. After visiting Assange in prison on the 9th of May 2019, Nils Melzer, the United Nations Special Rapporteur on Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treatment or Punishment, concluded that, quote, in addition to physical ailments, Mr. Assange showed all symptoms typical for prolonged exposure to psychological torture, including extreme stress, chronic anxiety, and intense psychological trauma, end quote. We've talked about all this stuff. I can kind of skip through all of that. It is a slow torture.
Did he put Wikipedia in there as a source? Go up a little bit. As reported in Wikipedia. Are you fucking kidding me? I just fucking can't with this dude.
I didn't even catch that. That's funny.
Wasn't there just a bunch of bullshit in the news about people using Wikipedia as a source?
Dude, if you use Wikipedia, I immediately discount everything you just said. I don't even care if it makes sense. I don't care if you're right. I don't like if you bring me Wikipedia, I'm about to just turn my brain off. I'm not interested anymore. Like they're so discredited. Like it's just not. It's like using the National Enquirer at this point. You know what I mean? No, thank you. No, thank you. Okay. So blah, 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 blah. We'll skip down to here. So he says, what Assange did is what American journalism used to do and often no longer does. It's not a coincidence that he's not from this country. Most reporters still here's another good sentence. Most reporters still left in this business from this country are bought and sold by the large companies that own them. But it's Trump's fault that everybody hates you, right? It's not that you're bought and sold by the large companies that own you.
This dude has no fucking self-awareness, does
you
he?
Just dismissed your entire argument before. You just crushed it with that sentence right there. This is why nobody likes mainstream press. That is, I would say, arguably that is the number one reason. Everybody knows you're bought. Everybody knows it. We all know it. Your segments are sponsored by Boeing and Pfizer and whoever the hell else has bought and sold you. So yes, that's why people don't like you. It has nothing to do with Trump being mean to the media. Nothing at all. Zero. Nobody liked you before. Nobody liked you before. I mean, yes, has the approval rating of the mainstream media gone down since Trump? Yes. But I mean, it's because y'all make a complete ass out of yourself on a daily basis. You're a joke. Mainstream media is a joke. No, that's not fair. It's not a joke. It's too dangerous to be labeled as a joke. Because it's, in my opinion, I've said this many times, I think that mainstream media is one of the greatest threats that we face. in this country and around the globe, period. They're the ones that lie us into these wars. They're the ones that misrepresent reality. They're the ones that have used fear mongering to gaslight people into taking questionable medical procedures. You know what I'm saying? Like that, they're, to me, mainstream
all their
media.
consultants are like ex-spooks and shit.
Yes.
Like, why are we going to trust you? We don't trust the spooks either.
Yeah. Yes, but it's Trump. It's Trump's fault that we don't like the media, apparently. Reagan and Trump, guys. That's the only problem with the media. Really. Promise. Okay.
Yeah, I seem to remember once we went to like 300 companies or 600 companies doing news to like 7.
Yeah. And I think it's probably consolidated even further. Those are old figures.
Yeah, for sure.
It was
more mergers. Disney is fucking huge, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's definitely been further consolidation. There's no question about it. It's terrifying. I mean, it's I think everybody's seen it at this point. The Sinclair Broadcasting, like the mashup that they did, where
that shit was creepy.
All the local news stations, like that shows you how deep it runs. It's not just national press. It's not just CNN and Fox News and MSNBC. It is, your local Fox affiliate, your, Fox 28 or whatever you got in your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? Like it goes all the way down. And I don't think people recognize like how deep it runs. Everything, all of it.
And then it's conspiracy. They're paid by the same people. Like,
yes, they're all owned by the same people.
They play ball or they don't have a job.
Yes. And that's what, when I say that they nearly have full control over the narrative, I mean it. Like, we're very close to like having not a clue in the world what's going on because they have full control over everything. It gets, so terrifying to me. Okay. So whatever else you think of Assange, his actions and what he's being prosecuted for were acts of journalism that used to be commonplace and are now extinct. The U.S. government hounds him because at the end of the day, our government doesn't want its dirty little or big secrets aired. I'm sorry. The Australian Parliament, several members of Congress, the German Chancellor, and others across the world have pleaded with the U.S. government to drop its case against him. I've asked repeatedly, many times, for a statement from the DOJ about the case. I doubt this. I've never received an answer. If he has, great. Thank you for doing it. But based on what I'm about to show you, I don't think that this guy did. So he says the White House merely refers you to the DOJ. Quote, it's up to the Attorney General to decide. End quote. We're always told. In the meantime, freedom suffers. Every conspiracy theory gains ground with our government's action against Assange and its lack of transparency with the public, whether a conspiracy actually exists or not. Every scream of quote unquote deep state gets traction due to the same. And more importantly, our government, as many have pointed out, is providing the template by which authoritarians around the world justify their actions against truth seekers and fact tellers. With each passing day that Assange spends in prison, it should be clear to everyone free speech is dying. No shit. We live in a world of rising authoritarianism. If Joe Biden cares about free speech and the press as much as he claims, we all know Trump doesn't care and in fact wants to eliminate any criticism against him.
Why?
Israel doesn't, and Joe Biden doesn't. He doesn't. He loves it.
He likes
uses
the ratings.
Them. He uses
he refers to them as just ratings.
Yes, he loves it. Are you joking? Trump loves that shit. He loves it. It's okay. Anyways, then he should speak out and urge Merrick Garland to drop the case against Julian Assange. He's speaking there about Biden. Don't expect that to happen before the election, unless it becomes clear that a high-profile trial of Assange during the election season would hurt Biden's chances of re-election. Of course, the government could also drag its feet and keep Assange from its family until after the election, so the story gets little or no attention from corporate media. That is how free speech and perhaps Julian Assange will die. Misunderstood, mostly forgotten, loathed, and feared. It's all about controlling the message. Welcome aboard, buddy. This guy, okay, here we go. This Brian guy. Brian Krim? I really don't know. I really don't care. This guy, I tried to see how many times he has talked about Assange or covered Assange. This is the only article I could find, this one that we just read. It's the only, listen, I didn't look super hard. Like I didn't go deep diving or anything, but I did look, and it's the only one that I can find. This guy, okay? But he's also had some things to say about Julian Assange, so let's take a look at that. Oh, I guess you guys probably don't want to see my DMs. So here it is. Is that big enough, Sleepy?
I'd make it a little bit bigger.
Okay.
That's
good. Okay. So this obviously he retweeted his own article with the caption, "Politicians, their goal is deflection and deception. They want you to blame us so you don't call them into question. Every government does it. Some do it better than others." So he quoted himself from his article. This is from April 4th, the day that the article came out. The press stinks. Trump and most presidents are the reason why. Their goal is deflection and deception. So he just, again, quoted himself, the same quote. This is from February 20th of 2020. He's talking about the supposed pardon that was offered by Rohrabacher, and he just basically is saying that Trump is claiming that he didn't know. Here we go. Rosenstein in private speech talks Assange cybersecurity China. So this is just he's reporting on Rosenstein going to have conversations, I assume, with Trump. And these are my favorite. Okay, so here's one from March 13th. I'm told that Prime Minister, he's talking about Anthony Albanese. Are you actually going to answer? What's the answer to what Biden says about Assange? And these two are my favorite. This is a response to somebody. You missed my point. I'm not on the Assange bandwagon. Far from it. And then this one from April 12th, 2019, the day after Julian Assange was arrested, kidnapped. He said, "I do not call Assange a journalist. What I call him, I cannot repeat politely."
Well, I know what I call this motherfucker.
So this guy is now pretending that he's a long supporter of Assange. He's asked the White House several times to comment on the situation, and that journalism is not a crime, and what Assange did was journalism. But the day after he was kidnapped from the Ecuadorian embassy, he was saying very specifically, very clearly that Julian Assange, in his opinion, is not a journalist, and in fact, what he wants to call him, he cannot say politely.
Well, Brian is a fuckboy.
Yes.
So, that might not be polite either, but, go fuck yourself, propaganda.
I'm not a very polite person. So.
I'm not either.
There's a new article out from Maynard James Keenan, the lead singer of Tool. And he was talking about how he's weird and stuff like that. And he was talking, like, comparing himself to Ryan Gosling. And he said, yeah, Ryan Gosling's a nice guy. And he's like, I'm not a nice guy. I'm weird and I'm uncomfortable in my skin. And I'm like, that's me. I'm not a nice person. I'm weird and uncomfortable in my skin. I mean, I am nice, though. I get that. Generally speaking. I'm not always nice, but I can be nice if I like you. So yeah, Brian sucks. And I don't know why people thought that was a good article.
It's a shit article. I mean, it's all like, it's literally just like shitting on Trump, basically. It's most. It is.
You know what it is? It's exactly, what did he call it? Deflection and something.
Yes.
What was it?
He wants to pretend to care about Assange so you'll hate Trump a little more. Okay.
Yes.
I already hated Trump. I don't need help with that.
Yes.
If you're going to talk about Assange, talk about fucking Assange. You don't have to bring up all this other bullshit.
Yes. I wish that I could remember the exact. Oh, he tweeted it, didn't he? Ball sacks.
This guy's a turd.
Their goal is deflection and deception. That's Brian's goal. That was projection. What Brian did there, that's projection. They want you to blame Trump so that you're not paying attention to
what the fuck Biden's doing or has not done.
Or the fact that the media, the fact that the media sucking balls has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Zero to do with Donald Trump. The media was garbage long before Donald Trump, period.
Decades.
End of story. Yes.
Decades.
Yes.
Decades.
We don't like you because you're corrupt, you're bought off, you're a propagandist, you are a stenographer to power, you're dangerous. That's why we don't like you. It has nothing to do with Donald Trump, period. I don't give two flying fucks what Donald Trump has to say about literally anything. Most of all, the fucking media, the thing that, like, I'm kind of obsessive about, the journalism. I don't give a fuck what Donald Trump has to say. I don't like you because you are terrible. How about that?
Fuck that guy.
I mean, seriously, it's so. Oh.
Yeah, I can see why you're irritated when because I didn't read it until just now because I knew I'd just be irritated.
Just in the Assange case, if you just look at the lies told by the mainstream media regarding the Assange situation, the thing which he is writing about, which he clearly has no self-awareness about the damage that was done by mainstream media in this thing that he's talking about while trying to blame Trump for why the media sucks. Did Trump make the media lie about Julian Assange and throw him under the bus? Because I'm pretty sure he did not. I'm pretty sure that's not a thing that's been happening. So when the Guardian writes a story lying about Paul Manafort going to the Ecuadorian embassy, and by the way, this article came out, what was it, just a few months? Yeah, a few months before he was arrested. Just like the segment on Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar, where they spent an entire segment on their show mocking Julian Assange, laughing at him.
Cackling about it.
Regurgitating the lies and the smears about him putting poop on the walls and not taking care of his cat. Like, fully playing that role of furthering the propaganda and the smears against Julian Assange.
And that's
on
what
Breaking
this
Points.
asshole just did.
And that's, yes. So that's why this annoys me. That's why this annoys me. So am I happy for the coverage? I guess. I mean, it gets Assange's name, it gets Julian's name in front of more people, I suppose. But I'm not of the opinion.
I'm not thanking him for that article. That's for fucking
No,
sure.
I'm not of the opinion that these douche canoes get a pass. I'm sorry. Like, again, if you want to cover Julian Assange, I will always welcome that. But you're not an ally. You are very, very clearly not an ally, period. You cannot be trusted. You are part of the problem. You're not, I don't know this Brian guy. I don't know if he did any smear stories against Assange. Again, I looked and I could only find one story from him about Assange. So I don't know. I mean, it's possible that I missed, again, I didn't do a deep dive, but I don't know if he did any smear pieces. But when I say it's you guys that did, I just mean the mainstream in general. I'm not joking. And Sleepy, you can attest to this, or we should get somebody like Paula on, who is constantly chasing down these stories to call for retractions or, editing or whatever, because they lie all the fucking time. All the time. There's been so many lies.
Emmy's done that. Like,
yes, there's a bunch of people. Like, there's a bunch of Assange people that's what they do every day. They wake up and they look for stories about Assange, and then they have to go through and ask for corrections, because there's so much bullshit spread, especially and specifically by mainstream media. I mean, the Guardian is obviously the worst offender, but they're far from alone. There's been so many stories written about he's a traitor, he's a hacker, the Sweden stuff, that there were charges. There were never any charges. There's been so many lies told. And I'm just talking about the Assange situation. And this guy thinks that it's because Trump that I don't like him. No, that's not why.
Way before Trump, dude.
Yeah. I haven't liked mainstream media in a very long time, my friend.
Dude, I
long
stopped
before
watching
Donald Trump.
Media a long time ago.
Yes.
Long time ago.
Yes. Like a very long, like,
I'm talking 90s and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I knew it was bullshit back then.
I watched a little bit, not a ton, but I would watch a little bit in like the 2007, 2008-ish years.
I mean, even then I'd watch Democracy Now! Or something.
Yeah. Yes, for sure.
Like,
but I kind of consider them.
Oh, no, this was a long time ago, before they were quite.
Yeah, I'm kind of lumping them into the.
Oh, they're mainstream media now, for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
It's really
For some
sad.
reason they talk about Palestine. That's like it.
Yeah, it's really sad. I used to have so much respect for Amy Goodman.
I mean, that's how I was made aware of Aaron Monte. He looked like he was like 12 fucking years old working there, and I watched him for years on there. He looked like 12 years old with his glasses.
Wait, was he at Real News first or Democracy Now?
No, he was on Democracy Now! Hella years ago, dude.
Okay, because he did Real News too. Because I remember the.
Yeah, that was after.
Dude, seriously,
that was when he got the smirk.
Yeah, listen, y'all, I'm not even joking. I haven't talked about this in a long time because it's been ages, but I used to, anytime anybody brought up Aaron Matei, I would, you have to go, if you haven't seen it, the interview that he did with Luke Harding, you absolutely have to go watch it immediately following the show. I mean, I'm not joking. It is one of my favorite all-time pieces of journalism. I don't know if it's an interview. It is so amazing. So if you don't know, Luke Harding wrote a book called Collusion about what you would think it's about. But there's no evidence of collusion presented in his book called Collusion. And the interview is so unbelievably awkward. And Aaron keeps pushing him. Okay, but like, where's the evidence for collusion? And Luke Harding like freaks out, and then he rage quits. Like, he just quits in the middle of the interview. It's so good.
And then Aaron gets a little smirk on his face.
Yeah, it's to this day. This was probably like
a long time ago now.
17, maybe 2018, something like that, maybe. And
he was
it
on
remains to this
Martinelli
day.
a long time ago, though. Like,
That interview though remains to this day one of my favorite things
it's great.
ever. I've watched it.
That made me love that guy even more.
Yes, I've watched it a lot of times. I'm not joking. I don't know how many times, but it's a lot. It's a lot of times. Okay. So we did the article, we did the video. I think we just really have collateral murder stuff to go through. So we don't need to spend a ton of time on this. I didn't want tonight to be super long or anything like that, but I just thought we needed to pop on again. It is the 14-year anniversary of the release of the collateral murder video. And that's significant. It's depressing to me. It's so depressing to me because imagine how different things would be right now if we had taken that seriously and demanded accountability and actually stood with Chelsea Manning and Julian Assange and fought for, not
doing war crimes.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a good start. We could start there. No more war crimes. I feel like that's a good start. Yeah.
Stop bombing everyone on fucking Earth, maybe.
Yeah. Stop slaughtering civilians. It's just like it depresses me that it's like the Snowden stuff. Snowden revealed all of these things that were being done to spy on us and nobody cared. It's just gotten worse since then. And it's really depressing to me that we don't stand with our truth tellers in real time. Like when we need to.
Yeah, it's always like decades later.
Yeah. And by then it's too late and shit's already way worse. And it's just frustrating. So the collateral murder anniversary always depresses me a little bit just because this is video evidence of several war crimes being committed in a 38-minute time frame. And
not to mention 2 of the people that were killed were fucking journalists, dude.
Yes. I mean, there were kids in that van. There were kids in the van for the double tap. Everybody keeps talking about double taps because apparently
this guy saw a couple journalists laying on the ground next to cameras and shit. He tried to swoop them up.
Yeah, he was trying to help. He just happened to drive.
These guys were killing journalists and acting like it was a
civilians.
Video game.
Yeah. No. Okay. So let's. Do you want me to pull up the collateral murder?
Yeah, you'll have to do that one.
Okay. Let's do this one. Oh, come on, pop-ups. The following content may contain graphic or violent imagery. You think? Okay. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with collateral murder, we're not going to play the whole thing. Obviously, it's 38 minutes long, but we're just going to play. There's this thing here. Sleepy, you said the first 5 minutes is pretty good.
Yeah, 5-6 minutes.
Okay, so
although the Department of Defense guy, or whoever the hell he is, I hate this guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, but I think let him talk, right? Let him make his excuses. People can see how ridiculous it is for themselves. But I just wanted to play a little bit of this has Assange talking about it. We can pause and talk throughout, and then if I'm pretty sure it'll be. I didn't watch this first 5 minutes, Sleepy did, but I'm pretty sure that the things that I wanted to call attention to will almost certainly be included because it's, to me, I've always told people you should absolutely watch Collateral Murder, but in my opinion, it's more important to listen to Collateral Murder because it is the cavalier attitude of these guys in this Apache helicopter as they are slaughtering civilians and journalists and shooting at children. It legit sounds like they're playing a video game. And I think that just highlights the culture of war and how divorced from humanity you have to be in those situations and the way that they are trained to be that way, to just be let loose upon innocent people in the name of profit for rich people. Really. I mean, that's all that, I mean, it just, to me, it's the audio is devastating. Like it's so hard to listen to. Obviously watching people get murdered in the streets of Baghdad is terrifying, but just listening to it is so awful. So we'll play this little clip again. Sleepy, if you have anything you want to like jump in the middle. And there is just a rage warning. There is some, I don't know, State Department douche canoe. I don't remember what he is. I've watched this years ago, but I don't remember who he is, but he is obviously going to induce rage because he is a douche canoe. Okay, do I have it? No, I forgot to pull it up. Hold, please. All right. Here we go.
The 24-minute one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah. I got it from the group chat. Oh, sorry. Is that playing okay?
On the 12th of July 2007,
yeah, I hear it.
The military responded to reports of small arms fire.
A little bit quiet.
Suburb. The military stated that they couldn't positively identify the gunman, so they dispatched
Is that better?
U.S. Apache helicopters to the area. The events that followed have been subject to much debate and investigation. By mid-morning of the 12th, a dozen Iraqis were dead. Among them, 2 Reuters news agency staff members gunned down by a U.S. Apache gunship. Now, recently, a video of the event has been posted online by the whistleblower WikiLeaks, provocatively titled Collateral.
Not a whistleblower. Sorry, that always drives me a little bit crazy. WikiLeaks is not a whistleblower.
Very, very old video.
I know, but that's still, people still do that. Like people who know better still do that, and we'll call him a whistleblower. He's not a whistleblower. Julian Assange is not a whistleblower.
Well, he called WikiLeaks a whistleblower.
Yeah, which is weird. WikiLeaks is not. I don't know if an organization can be a whistleblower. I guess you could be a whistleblowing organization. They are not. They're a publisher, a media outlet, a news organization, not whistleblowers. Just so that's clear. Just want to make that clear because I still get that all the time.
Collateral Murder. It shows us the build-up to the shootings, the aerial attacks, and the audio communication between the pilots and the ground forces. In the next half hour, we'll watch the video with the WikiLeaks editor and a US military analyst giving us their perspectives on the unfolding events. We must warn you, however, the following footage contains some images and audio that you might find disturbing.
Wait a second. He won an award for journalism? He's not a journalist. Right? Dude's won dozens of awards for journalism. Just saying.
This event has gained a lot of attention because this was video and it's very easy for people to see what's going on and to have faith that in somehow this is a true representation. It's not too complex. There's no language barriers for visual material.
You guys just drove over a body. Yeah.
We released the policies behind this material as far back as 2007.
That's a fairly accurate assessment so far.
The classified US military policies. We have been doing things surrounding these events for a number of years.
Oh, it's their fault for bringing their kids to a battle. That's right.
As we get more resources.
Did you just hear what they said?
Shouldn't bring your kids to a battle.
Yeah. Shouldn't bring your kids to a battle. He didn't. He was just driving down the road and happened upon a massacre and decided to stop and render aid. And for his trouble, he was murdered and his kids were gravely injured. But shouldn't have brought your kids to a gunfight. Shut the fuck up. You absolute psychopath. Like, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. The audio. I'm going to go back so that people who missed it can hear that.
So far.
The classified US military policies. We have been doing things surrounding these events for a number of years.
Oh, it's their fault for bringing their kids to a battle. That's right.
As we get more resources, we are able to do things like send people to Baghdad to flesh out background of material we release, which is great.
Cato Institute.
Well,
of course.
We have the luxury of looking back at it and from the comfort of our own, seats.
Yeah, Roger. I just estimate there's about 20 of them.
When you're out in the battle, of course, you're being confronted, especially in a guerrilla war where you don't know exactly who the enemy is.
This wasn't a battle. These dudes were just walking on the streets in New Baghdad, and they were in Apache helicopters, far, far away. Far, far away. This is not a battle. They're just walking down the street. The 2 Reuters journalists had cameras. That's what happened.
Have 5 to 6 individuals with AK-47s.
Not
AK-47s.
AK-47s.
More on edge than they are in a conventional war because they know the people have uniforms.
Yeah, we got a guy shooting. Now he's behind the building. God damn it.
They're constantly on edge. They really showed that they were acting for their own safety in certain respects when they camera was mistaken for the RPG.
We got an RPG. All right, we got a guy with an RPG. I'm gonna fire. I gotta do is pick up a weapon. Request permission to engage. Come on. Light them all up.
This reminds me of Cops. I feared for my safety. You know what I'm saying? That's what it reminds me of.
I mean, most cops that are cops, a lot of them come in from the military, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yes. But again, this is just, we shouldn't have been there. They shouldn't have been in a position to be concerned about guerrilla warfare or protecting themselves. Like, we had no business being there to begin with, which is the broader conversation that they desperately don't want to have, which is why over the past 14 years since this video has been released, and so much effort has been put in to making it about Assange instead of about the contents of the releases. Nobody talks about what was revealed in WikiLeaks. Nobody. It's always about Julian Assange is a traitor. Julian Assange is a hacker. Julian Assange is a rapist. Julian Assange is a Russian. Whatever they got to do to keep the conversation off of, hey, this guy revealed some really awful war crimes. Some of the worst things I've ever read about: rape, torture, murders of entire families, and then cover-ups. Hey, we got to bomb this building because we just murdered this entire family and we got to cover this shit up. Can somebody please bomb this building for us? I mean, that's the kind of shit that we're talking about. And again, none of those conversations are had because most of it has been focused on Assange as a person, which is very intentional.
And there's more that keep walking by, and one of them has a weapon.
So what you are seeing here is the gun camera footage from the Apache helicopter, US Apache helicopter, circling around New Baghdad. The helicopter was called in to the general vicinity at 9:50 a.m. after there was a reportage of small arms fire. There's no report in our records of that hitting US troops. And most importantly, there was no positive identification. That is, the location and description of the individual was never established. So there cannot be any allegation sustained that the particular people that this Apache helicopter will go on to attack were known to be people who had been previously shooting on US forces.
Stay firm. And open the courtyard.
Certainly journalists are going to go in, interview people from the other side and that sort of thing. It's still unclear if they were hanging out with insurgents, and if they are, then I think they have to be.
He's victim blaming.
Yup.
Well, they shouldn't have been hanging out with those insurgents. They're journalists. They're there to do journalism, to talk to people, to get pictures, to embed themselves. Like, that's what journalists are supposed to do.
And they were out in the fucking open.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, this guy. Oh.
Be more careful. This is the problem with war, especially guerrilla warfare, is that you don't know who's friend, foe, or neutral. And so if journalists are with the insurgents...
So just kill everybody. Just kill everybody. We can't tell. So we'll just kill everybody. That's essentially what he's saying. The trouble with war is that you can't differentiate who's the enemy. So we're just going to kill everybody. That's basically what he's saying. That's not how this works, my guy.
In a situation like this, then they're probably really endangering their lives.
Hotel 26, Crazy Horse 1-8, have individuals with weapons. 4 radio. Rio Banners 1-4. Yep, he's got a weapon too.
You see a couple AK-47s. I do see the actual RPG, which was not mistaken.
Here is an individual who has something that is long, that may be a rifle, may be a rocket-propelled grenade launcher. It may be something else. It may be a camera tripod. It may be a bit of building equipment. We don't know.
Request permission to engage.
Roger that. We have no personnel east of our position, so you are free to engage over.
All right, we'll be engaging. Roger, go ahead. I can't get them now because they're behind that building.
But now they're going to find out that the camera, the guy they think has the RPG.
He's got an RPG.
And they get very panicked, and they're very ambitious to fire at this point because the RPG is capable of knocking down the helicopter.
All right, we got a guy with an RPG. I'm going to fire. No, hold on, let's come around.
Once again, you could see at this angle how maybe that could be confused with someone attempting to fire an RPG, But nonetheless, the permission to kill all those people was asked for before this event and was granted before this event.
Yeah, we got a guy shooting. Now he's behind the building. God damn, gonna be coming around.
Negative. He was right in front of the Brad.
When these helicopters were circling, they were repeatedly circled around, so it wasn't just one time around. They have a 30-millimeter rotating cannon on them, which is just a big Gatling gun.
You're clear. All right, firing. When the state line, let me know when you have it. Or shoot. Light them all up.
202 traffic, 260.
Come on, fire. Hey, Roger. Keep shoot. Keep shoot.
What is being shot is a 30-millimeter.
Yeah, by the way, those 30 mil, like, that obliterates a person. I don't mean to be graphic, but that's not
fucking round.
Yes. That I'm trying not to be too blunt.
And remember this, they were using depleted uranium, all kinds of shit in here.
Yes. Yes. It's terrible.
Cannon, either explosive or depleted uranium. They're either fragmentation, which is probably what is being used here. They hit the ground and send out fragments.
We'll move, but we got
This sweeping hits part of this house, and in fact, there was one woman killed in this house and another person injured.
All right, you're clear. All right, I'm just trying to find targets again.
You could criticize the people in the helicopters, but of course they've been put in this situation, and that's where the fault may lie.
Got a bunch of bodies laying there.
But the fault certainly doesn't lie with the guy who got evidence for this shit and published it. That's where it doesn't lie. Again, the only people that have ever been held accountable for these war crimes that you are watching right now is the whistleblower that leaked them and the publisher that published them. That's the only two people that have ever been held accountable in any way for these war crimes. Video evidence of war crimes, and just the whistleblower and the publisher have been punished for that. That's crazy to me. Like, it's crazy to me that everybody's just okay with that. Actual war crimes.
And this is just a video. That release was insane, dude. There's so much shit in there.
Oh my God. Yeah. The Collateral Murder, I think, gets, obviously because it's video, I think it gets a lot of hype and a lot of attention. Rightfully so. I'm not trying to discount it. It is very striking, obviously. I mean, no joke. When Collateral Murder came out, that changed like everything for me. I was very curious about WikiLeaks. I had heard about them before some of this stuff came out, but I didn't really know much. You know what I mean? I just kind of heard through the grapevine. And then when this came out, watching this, that changed a lot for me. And I think it did for a lot of people. I mean, I don't think we had really ever seen anything like this before. And I think it's incredibly striking. And
I mean, it's the first time the U.S. has seen what we do in war since Vietnam.
Yeah. Yes. And the reason why we don't see it anymore is because they learned from Vietnam. And they learned that if we
not want to be at war when we see that shit.
Yeah. If we show like the bad parts of this, the ugly parts of this, there's going to be no support for war. So we're not going to show anything to anybody. And we're just going to do awful things and just not tell anybody about it.
But that was Trump's fault. Trump's the one that stopped showing us that shit.
Yes, obviously. Trump made journalists stop going to war zones and covering it in a real and substantive way. Obviously, Trump decided that the only legitimate coverage of a war has to be Anderson Cooper on a balcony miles away in his tiny black t-shirt. Like, that's the only war coverage we can get now. That was Trump's decision. Totally. But yeah, like, I mean, we don't have to play any more of this. That guy's getting on my nerves anyways, but like, it's, to me.
But yeah, I mean, and the worst part of this is when, you know, they come up, a guy's just rendering aid, trying to get him to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then they
yeah, we can play up to that part. So people, yeah, we should, yeah, let's play that.
All right, we got about 8 individuals.
Because I think that to me is the most.
I think it's coming up.
It is. Knowing that there are kids in the van, watching, like, you're going to see it. These bullets are so big, they turn, like, they move the van. Like, it's a whole
Crazy Horse 1-8, this is Hotel 26, over.
Roger, currently engaging approximately 8 individuals.
And by the way, this is called a double tap.
We are engaging approximately 8 individuals.
When they come back
Also a war
around.
crime.
Also a war crime.
They only
Targeting
ever said
journalists, war
that
crime.
Lemire's camera was an
Civilians,
RPG,
war
so
crime.
this is an exaggeration.
Hotel 26, you need to move to that location once Crazy Horse is done and get pictures, over. Jaya.
Sergeant Vaughn is the location. The Hotel 26, Crazy Horse 1-8. Oh yeah, look at those dead bastards.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, it's like
Nice.
people use when they play video games. They feel a sense of accomplishment from killing those people.
Nice. Good shoot. Thank you.
You can see that they are thrilled to have killed those people.
Good shooting. How many rounds did he put off? 30 millimeters to kill 8 people?
If you do this day in, day out, and you're given permission to do this, and you're encouraged by your superiors to get high kill counts.
Master 7, Crazy Horse 1-8. Location of bodies, Mike Bravo, 5458.
They've really been desensitized to warfare. I think under combat, when your adrenaline is high and that sort of thing, and you think there may be a potential threat, you're going to err on the side of saving your own life.
They're in a fucking helicopter.
In front of an open courtyard with a bunch of blue trucks, a bunch of vehicles in the courtyard.
Now they're looking for some more targets because they've shot the initial targets and everything has been destroyed except one guy.
It's 1-8. We also have one individual appears to be wounded, trying to crawl away.
Now they're focusing on the body.
Horrifying.
It's moving.
Roger, we'll cease fire. Yeah, we won't shoot anymore.
And hoping he'll pick.
That's a Reuters journalist, by the way.
And so they're.
Not that it matters who he is, really.
I haven't seen one yet. You guys got that guy crawling right now on the curb? Yeah, I got him. I put 2 rounds in here, and you guys are shooting over there too, so we'll see.
But he doesn't pick up a gun, so they're just waiting on him, watching him.
Roger, I'm just trying to make sure that you guys have my turb, over. Roger, we got the turb.
Come on, buddy. I gotta do is pick up a weapon.
Yeah, so come on, buddy, all you do is pick up a weapon. Come on, just pick up a weapon. And they want the excuse to kill him. Apparently they gain some pleasure from either the kill or from the kill count, getting a high score in the game of war.
I'll pop flares. We also have one individual moving. We're looking for weapons. If we see a weapon, we're going to engage. Now, Bushmaster, we have a van that's approaching and picking up the bodies. Where's that van at? Right down there by the bodies. Okay, yeah. Bushmaster, Crazy Horse, we have individuals going to the scene. Looks like possibly picking up bodies and weapons. Let me engage.
Hey, we need to stop that. We need to get down there. We need to stop that. You see my location?
Roger. Break. Crazy Horse 1-8. Request permission to engage.
So the controller tells them they need to stop this evacuation of weapons and bodies.
Come on, let us shoot.
But it looks like the pilots understand that their commander will give the go signal if there is some interaction with weapons. So they seem to have this understanding that if people pick up the wounded, that is enough reason to get permission under the rules of engagement to kill them.
Request permission to engage.
Also a war crime.
Bushmaster 7, Roger.
Yes.
Bushmaster 7, Roger, engage.
1-8, engage. Clear. Come on. Clear. Clear. We're engaging.
And you can see that they also deliberately target Saeed, the wounded man, on the ground. Despite their earlier belief that they didn't have the rules of engagement, that the rules of engagement did not permit them to kill Saeed when he was wounded. When he was rescued, suddenly that belief changed. But you can see in this particular image, he is lying on the ground and the people in the van have been separated, but they still deliberately target and kill him.
Again, there are kids in that van.
This is why we called it collateral murder. In the first example, maybe it's a collateral exaggeration or incompetence when they strafe this initial gathering. This is recklessness, bordering on murder, but we couldn't say for sure that that was murder. But this particular event is clearly murder.
John Pilger once called it 360 degrees of murder. That's how he described it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every time I watch that, dude, it's rough.
Well, we can probably end this one here, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they killed the father. He was trying to save the journalist, and
yeah,
I think the kids lived through it, but
they did live. They were severely injured. There's actually, for those of you who are interested in learning about the fallout from this, Ethan McCord is one of the soldiers who came onto the scene after all of this happened. So he
fucked
was
him up, if I remember right.
Yes. He's done a couple interviews about it. He hasn't really done anything public in a very long time, but pretty soon after this came out, because when this came out, it like re-traumatized him. He was actually mad about it, that it had been released, because he had to relive it. But then he came out and started talking about how bad it fucked him up and how awful the situation was and what he witnessed, and the kids, and he thought that they were both dead, like they were both severely injured. And he was like the first guy on the scene, and he ended up I think he carried the girl to safety. I think it was a girl and a boy, and he carried the girl to safety. But that fucked him up. And I mean, listen, we wonder why soldiers kill themselves so frequently. I mean, if you were like conditioned to lose your humanity and sent into this place to murder innocent brown people for profit, I don't know how that doesn't fuck you up. You know what I mean? Like, it's even if you're fully brainwashed and completely believe that you're serving your country and that you're doing something good, even if I don't know how this doesn't fuck you up. But I think that there is I don't want to say silent majority, but I think that there is a significant percentage of the veteran population that fully understands now that they were used, that they were essentially turned into terrorists, and that what they were doing was fucked up. And I think that a lot of them just don't know how to contend with that. You know what I mean? I mean, we know that there are some, oh my God, why am I blanking? Danny Scherzen, great example. Abby Martin's boyfriend, Mike Preisner. Yeah, sorry. I told you I'm bad at names.
Adam Kokesh.
Yeah, there's like tons of examples. Veterans for Peace. I mean, we can talk about, there's tons of veterans who have come to those realizations. I think it is a lot more than have gone public. I think a lot of them just don't want to.
They don't want to talk about it.
No. Because imagine.
I don't want to relive it. I get it.
But Jesse Zerwell and I, when we first met Danny Scherzen, and Danny was on my show all the time. Steve used to make fun of me because Danny Scherzen was on my show all the time, because I love Danny. He's fantastic. He's good on so many issues. You can talk to him about anything, and he is like great on like he's just a really good guest for a show, and he's a great dude. We had him on, and and I feel like I like him because I feel like I can ask him legitimate questions and I don't have to worry about him getting offended. Because there are times that I have questions that might not be all that PR or PC, you know what I mean? Like, it might not be all that, but I don't think he cares. And so, I mean, we even approach that with him. Like, I can't imagine the heaviness of, being brainwashed, because I think you don't enter into the military unless you're A, really poor, or B, you've been brainwashed into thinking that you're, going to go be the superhero protector of your country. You know what I mean? And I can't imagine, especially those people who I think 9/11 was a catalyst for them. I can't imagine enlisting in the military, thinking that you're doing this great thing, living the reality of it, and then coming to the realization that you have been used as a pawn in some disgusting war for profit, that you have murdered people who did nothing to you, so that some billionaire could buy another yacht. Like, that's unbelievably heavy. And I think that a lot of them just don't want to say it out loud. I think that would make it too real for them. And I get it. Like, I get it. And that's why there's such a terrible suicide predicament, epidemic amongst veterans. I think it's, you know what I mean, trying to contend with that.
On the plus side, their recruiting numbers suck now.
Yeah, good. Don't join the military. I'll say it. Don't.
My best friend, like, she tried telling me her kid might go to the military when he's an adult. I says, yeah, you should probably try to dissuade him from that.
Absolutely not. My little brother wanted to go in the Marines. I spent like 6 months. Like, no, you are not, sir. You are absolutely, that's not a thing you're going to be doing, sir. No. Like, I had to talk him out of it because he bought in hook, line, and sinker. Like, I'm going to be a Marine. I'm going to be, you know what I mean? No.
You're going to go kill people for profit. That's what you're going to go do.
Yeah. And not even your own profit. I mean,
no,
not that would make it better, but you're not, yeah, you're going to.
That's if you come back.
Yeah. You're going to sell your soul to the United States government. You're going to essentially be turned into a terrorist. You're going to go off and murder people so that somebody else can get rich. You're going to be treated like shit. You're going to get paid like shit. There's going to be no, like, yeah, no,
it is not a glorious life.
No, it's absolutely not. It's not, you're not doing the right thing. You're not doing the brave thing. I mean, this is going to get me in a lot of trouble. People are going to be mad at me for saying this shit, but that's the truth. It's just the truth. And I wish people would say it more. Don't join the military. Do not. I will do everything I can to keep people from joining the military.
Big thing.
Yeah. Like, there's a veteran group that does like anti-recruiting stuff. I'm blanking on the name. Shit, what's it called? We talked about it on Facts years ago. I can't remember the name of it. But they're awesome. Like, they go around and do like anti-recruiting, whatever that means.
Good for
like,
them.
You know, they go and dissuade people. They go to like high schools because they target high schools, obviously, and they'll go to high schools and talk to them about why you should not join the military. And it's powerful coming from them because they're veterans. And I think that obviously that holds more weight with people. When I say it, I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people that discount it just because I've never served, regardless of whether or not what I'm saying is absolute truth. But I think it holds more weight when it comes from veterans, I think, for sure. But yeah, that's just, it's heavy. So yeah, I would definitely go check out Ethan McCord, watch the interviews that he's done about Collateral Murder. Go watch the entirety of Collateral Murder, and more like, I'm sure most of people watching this have seen it. Show it to other people. Because again, the whole thing has been very Assange focused. And I mean, rightfully so, to some degree. He's the guy that is being tortured to death for this stuff. So, we should be saying his name.
Well, I mean, how I introduce it to people, like when they, like, if someone brings it up, like, or asks me a question or something, I'm like, well, you know what he's being charged for? 9 times out of 10, they say the Hillary Clinton email.
Yeah. And
so I'm like, no, that's for war crimes. So I'm going to show you something, and then I'll show them Collateral Murder. So
yes,
it is a powerful short introduction to why they're going after him, because this is what he's being charged with. Like, people keep trying to say it's because of election shit and all. It's not. That's not the charges. Learn the damn charges.
Well, that's intentional.
And I think they do that on purpose, though.
Yeah, that's intentional. 100%. It's intentional. Everything, all of this stuff is very calculated. Everything that they're doing, it's all very calculated. I mean, they had plenty of time to get a game plan together on how to deal with the situation. I think that there's some, I don't think they anticipated the support for Assange growing as much as it has. So, but I don't know. To me, show people Collateral Murder, but there's like also a ton of really great, like to me, the Matt Kennard video. Do you know if that's right? Kennard, is it Kennard?
I think so.
Kennard? I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. I'm always worried I'm mispronouncing people's names, but there's a Matt Kennard video. I'll pull it up real quick so people can see it. It's less than 5 minutes. Here it is. It's less than 5 minutes, and it is a great breakdown. It's older. Like, I think this came out in 2020, maybe 2021. I'm not sure. I mean, it's less than 5 minutes. Here, I'll just play it for everybody. But it does a great job of, in less than 5 minutes, explaining what's happening and why you should care about it, which is cool. I like those quick, easy videos.
The most powerful country in the world is exerting the right to pluck any foreign citizen, put them in a supermax prison for the rest of their life, merely for publishing information that government doesn't like. That should terrify everyone. For me, and I think many journalists, this is the most important press freedom case in modern history. The legal process in the Assange case has been corrupted from the start. Assange's privileged conversations with his lawyers were spied on by the intelligence agency behind his prosecution, the CIA. They had enlisted UC Global, which was running security for the Ecuadorian embassy in London, to spy on Assange and set up cameras and to have a live feed coming from the Ecuadorian embassy. The chief magistrate in the case, Lady Arbuthnot, her husband is a Tory lord and ex-defence minister. Lady Arbuthnot has personally received financial benefits from partner organisations of the Foreign Office, which in 2018 called Assange a miserable little worm. Her son is vice president of an investment house, which is heavily invested in a cybersecurity company set up by MI5 and GCHQ to stop data leaks. The Home Secretary that certified the initial US extradition request, Sajid Javid, had attended 6 secretive conferences with CIA, NSA officials, organized by a group who has published calls for Assange to be assassinated or taken down. We also revealed that Assange is one of only 2 people held in Belmarsh Maximum Security Prison for violating his bail conditions. Over 20% of the inmates are held for murder, and over 2/3 are held for violent offences. So it's completely irregular that Assange is even being held in that facility. The mainstream media's response to the Assange case has been pitiful. We at Declassified have published 8 investigations now highlighting irregularities, conflicts of interest, and all sorts of worrying developments in this case. Not one has been picked up by the mainstream media. Most mainstream journalists do not see their role as challenging power. They're an accessory to power. Particularly egregious has been The Guardian. They benefited hugely from the early WikiLeaks releases and from Assange's personal bravery. The Guardian, in fact, covered the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial more than it covered the Julian Assange trial. That is just a symptom of a wider malaise amongst the mainstream media who do not seem to understand that this is a threat to them. For them, Assange is someone different. He's a hacker, he's a computer scientist, he's not a journalist, when in fact, of course he is a journalist. He revealed more war crimes and more criminal action by the most powerful country in the world than any journalist has ever done in history. There's no reason this stops with Assange. Assange is being prosecuted mainly under the Espionage Act for things that national security reporters do every day. Talk to sources and get leaks which expose wrongdoing by powerful states. This case criminalizes that. He would be the only journalist or publisher in the Colorado Supermax where he would go.
It's closed off to the rest of the world. Inside, the most dangerous inmates are sealed off.
You're designing it so the inmates can't see the sky, intentionally.
He would spend 23 hours of his day in what is being called a concrete coffin. He'd be allowed out 1 hour a day, shackled, and would have no human contact at all, effectively solitary confinement. What Julian Assange did was actually live up to the ideals that journalism should be about. It's about revealing the criminality of the people who act in our name. And he did it repeatedly and on a scale which had never been done before. There's been 10 years of the most powerful intelligence agencies in the world, in alliance with the media, destroying this man's reputation, destroying every part of his personality. And it's worked. He's an unpopular figure. But the point is, people need to delve under all the propaganda which is entrenched in our system and entrenched in the media and think about what he's done. He exposed war crimes. If we all learn from Assange and actually hold powerful corporations, powerful states to account and reveal their criminality, we might live in a democracy where we know what those who act in our name are really doing. Because at the moment we have a secret state with secret agencies doing things all over the world that no one knows about. And that is how they like it. They don't want us to know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, look at those dead bastards.
Someone like Assange upsets that whole system. But we should take his inspiration and expose them to the sunlight, which they hate, but which is vital for a real democracy. For me, the great hope in the UK is the growing alternative media scene. The mainstream media is dying, and we shouldn't lament its death. We should look to support new media, like Double Down News, like Declassified, which are actually exposing the powerful and revealing stories and narratives which you can't get in the mainstream. Join the future of journalism. Join Double Down News on Patreon.
I think that's a great video.
It is. It's a good refresher course.
Yeah, it's like good for the uninitiated. It is a little dated. There's some information in there that I would maybe change or update. But I think it gets the general point across. I think that for me, when I'm trying to approach somebody who knows very little about it, this video is very good. It's a very good,
it's
like,
not heavy enough to have to absorb a bunch of shit.
It's quick, it's brief, it's to the point. There's a lot of information contained, but it's not overwhelming. It's only 5 minutes, so most people have the attention span to sit through it. And I think it does a good job of pointing out some of the key points that should concern everybody. So I think that will, in my experience, it's gotten people more interested. Like, oh, okay, now, so what does this mean? Or
yeah, it's one of those that'll be like, well, wait a minute, I'm gonna have to look this guy up.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. Yes. And I like that. I've used this video, I can't even tell you how many times in the however many years it's been around.
Juan's video is real good too.
Juan's is fantastic. I should put here. I'm going to drop the link to, I don't have chat, do I? Fuck my life.
If you put it in the private chat and I'll throw it in the chat.
Okay. But I'll do the, come on. Oh my God. You're killing me.
Is your computer trolling you?
No, I'm just dumb. I'm gonna have Sleepy put the link for that video that I just showed you, the Matt Kennard video, and then I'll also give you the documentary to see the link to see Juan's documentary. Oh, good God. Passarelli's documentary is, I think, like 48 minutes long.
It's pretty short. Yeah,
it is very short.
It's good,
and it is much more in depth. And also, first of all,
he did a great job the way.
Full disclosure, I love Juan Passarelli. So
how could you not?
Yes, he is a fantastic human being. So I will hype him any chance I'm given. But legitimately though, objectively speaking, the documentary is fantastic. It's only 48-ish minutes long. It's less than an hour. And he manages to pack so much information into this documentary while also not being too in the weeds about it. Like, it is the perfect introductory course to the Assange stuff, like the longer version. Like, I think Matt's video is good to like grab people's attention, but then I think the next place you go is Juan. Like, go to that documentary for sure. And it's so good. It's so well done. And Juan is a longtime friend of Julian's. They've known each other for over a decade. He's worked with him. So he has that kind of like insider perspective. So he kind of, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's like, that's important to see that somebody that knows Julian, I think, can offer a better perspective. Cause I think a lot of the effective smears against Julian have been about his personality, which is so fucking
for sure
bizarre to me that anybody gives a shit. I don't care.
It's bizarre to me that it fucking worked.
Yeah.
That's the weirdest part about it. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
I just don't like, it's very bizarre to me when people put somebody's personality, like, he could be an asshole. I don't know. I've never met him. He could be the worst person on, like, he could be the biggest jerk on planet Earth. It really doesn't matter to me. I would still fight against what's happening to him because it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's not okay. And it endangers it endangers my free speech. That's what, it's no different than when I defended Alex Jones when he was being deplatformed. I don't like Alex Jones.
Fuck no.
It's the same thing.
Although when he her father is now in hell video is my favorite fucking video ever.
What's that?
Oh God, I'll send
it. Is it Meghan McCain related?
Yes.
Okay.
He's like, it was her father. I'll send it. It's a really quick video. I'll send it to you later. But like, dude, it's delightful. But other than that,
yeah, he sucks. I mean, I'm not a fan of Donald Trump. When they deplatformed a sitting president from the entire
Yeah,
internet.
that was not great.
I stood against that too. I can't stand Donald Trump, but that's not good. So yeah, it's just weird to me when that kind of stuff is so effective. It just sucks that people are so like personality focused instead of consistent on principle. It sucks.
There's this episode of fucking Orville when their whole justice system is based on likes.
Yeah. Yeah. We pretty much live that.
Yes. And I'm like, oh my God. Because I only saw it like a couple years ago or something. It was already kind of old by then. I was like, oh my God, this is what we're living.
Yeah,
nuts,
we
dude.
pretty much live that at this point.
Nuts.
Terrifying as it is, that's pretty much where we're at.
Yeah, and if you got enough dislikes, they like killed you and shit. Like,
right?
Nuts.
Which, by the way, speaking of likes and stuff, I have been a blue check has been forced upon me.
I saw that.
What the fuck is that? I didn't ask for that shit. I didn't apply for that shit. I sure as hell didn't give Elon Musk my banking information. Are you joking?
This is somebody else that we follow too. I can't remember.
Apparently, if you have more than 2,500 followers, which that is a low ass bar.
Yeah,
like
I mean that's about what I've been running at forever.
That's a low bar. But apparently, like they started to roll it out. If you have more than 2,500 subscribers or followers, what Elon's tweet said subscriber followers. So I thought that if you had like people that paid to see your tweets, like if you had 2,500, but it's just follow apparently because I don't have subscribers. Don't subscribe to my Twitter.
I wonder if it's like Twitter people who pay them that follow you.
I don't know.
That could be a possibility.
Maybe.
Possibility.
I just trashed 2,500 people that follow me for giving their banking information to Elon Musk. Sorry.
I mean, that's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm only at like 2,200. So, and I bleed out like 100 every couple of months.
Oh, guys, I can't believe I have to say that out loud.
But isn't that weird? I was like, wait, she got a blue check. I know she didn't pay that fucker.
Well, I woke up and I got this fucking, and it's so dumb too. It's I got this weird ass notification. Where's it at? It says, as an influential member of the community on X, we've given you a complimentary subscription to X Premium subject to X Premium terms by selecting this notice. X reserves the right to cancel the complimentary subscription in its sole discretion. Visit Premium in your navigation drawer to view your premium features. You can't opt out. You can't, like, I don't want this. You can't do that. They're just giving me X Premium.
It's weird.
It is very weird.
I think they're using it as a targeting mechanism.
Well, for sure. But also I think somebody said something about it might be, I don't know. I don't know the angle. I don't know why they're giving out blue checks like that.
Strange.
I'm not interested in being a blue check though. So just so everybody knows, that was forced upon me. I did not consent to my blue check. Didn't ask for it. Didn't apply for it. Don't want it. Can't opt out of it though. So there you have that. Thanks very much, Elon.
It's probably because people are going to be hating on you about it. That's why.
They might be, because I mean, I do go after Elon a lot.
You did today.
I did. Somebody DM me and was like, "Hey, I'm really happy to see that blue check didn't change you." And I was like, "No, I'm still going after Elon."
Right.
That's not. If that was the goal, like we'll give her a blue check and maybe she'll be nice.
No.
I'm sorry. That's
You're gonna have to remove me to make me nice.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that's coming at some point.
Eventually,
I'm sure. Yeah, they'll get around to it at some point. Yeah, by the way, speaking of hypocritical tweets, Mr. Elon Musk is driving me fucking crazy. He continues to 4 hours ago, he tweeted out, "Without freedom of speech, we're all just slaves in the matrix." Another reminder that Elon Musk has still yet to speak on the case against Julian Assange. Not a word. Not a word. He did the single tweet with the poll where he very clearly said, "This is not me expressing an opinion. I'm just curious what people think." And he is still yet to formulate an opinion, apparently, but continues to talk about how much he loves free speech as he continues to censor people on Twitter.
As he continues to take shitloads of money from the government.
Yes. Bring back Kit Clarenberg, asshole. How about that? Bring back Garland Nixon. How about that?
Yeah.
Stop censoring people. How about that? Mr. Free Speech. Freedom of speech, not reach.
He's so full of shit.
He is so full of shit. And
We don't need to rant on Elon tonight.
No,
but,
there are people that I
Mr.
know.
Free Speech. That's what
there are people that I know and like though who buy into his bullshit and paid for their blue check and very happily take their Twitter dollars, and it's very strange to me.
I mean, I know a few that got it just so they could post longer videos and shit, So I mean, I can see a use for some people.
I get it.
For a lot of promoting and stuff, but I wouldn't give that fucker money.
No, I'm not interested in the everything app. I don't consent to that.
I don't. No, they want to be They want to be fucking WeChat. I mean, Whitney Webb is always right, dude, and she's been calling this shit for a long time. And
yes,
that's exactly what he's trying to turn it into. Is WeChat.
Yes, everybody go check out Whitney's reporting on Elon Musk. It is vast. There's a lot of information that Whitney has uncovered and put forth. So don't get overwhelmed.
She's very overwhelming. It's a lot of
overwhelming. She makes my brain hurt. I'm in awe of her. Like
her recall is insane.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. Like Max Blumenthal, their ability. Because listen, when they're talking, like I know the things that they're talking about. Like I know and understand the information, but it's difficult for me, and it might just be because my brain is so
all over the place.
Yes, all the time. It's hard for me to like grab snippets of information when I need them. So it's hard, it's hard for me to like recall dates and things like that and make connections. I mean, if you gave me an hour to like organize myself, I could present it in an appropriate way. And I know, like, I'm not pretending I know all of the things Whitney knows, but you know what I mean? Like I have some understanding of the things that she's talking about. It's not that I'm dumb or I don't have the information. It's just that I don't have that crazy superhero skill of being able to just recall times, dates, locations, acronyms, the amount of
names.
Acronyms. Yeah. Forget names. I can't remember names to save my life. I'm terrible at remembering names. I'll remember your face.
And all these fucking millions of fucking shady ass shell companies and she'll just rattle them off, dude.
Well, and all of the acronyms, you know what I mean? Like all the WHOs and WEFs. I mean, obviously those are the major ones, but there's so many of them and she can just pull those. And I just don't have that ability. I wish I did. I'm fascinated by people who are cool like that. I am not one of those people. I just don't have that. I can, if you give me an hour, I can sit down and organize my thoughts and be able to present it. But I can't just like recall stuff on the fly. My brain freezes.
I need to teach you to use this one program that I use for doing that kind of shit. It makes it easier.
For like organizing your thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so hard.
Or it's even good for like show planning and shit. It's pretty dope.
Okay. Yeah, I need that. Because it's like I struggle with that, obviously.
I
have severe ADHD. I don't know if it's obvious. Some people say
not
it's
on
obvious.
camera, really.
Really? Okay, good.
You're unless you're doing one of your days where you're like spinning on your chair like a motherfucker.
Somebody called me out on somebody sent me the comment on an RBN video. They're like, we really like Misty, but I can't watch her. She just won't stop spinning in her chair. And I'm like, fuck. I try really hard. Like I need to get I have a non-spinny chair.
I'm a leg twitcher.
Okay.
I don't spin, but
if I'm in a spinny chair, it's so hard. Like you don't understand. As I'm talking to you guys, I'm having a conversation in my head with myself. Don't spin in your chair. Don't spin in your chair. Nope, you're spinning in your chair. Don't do it. Stop moving. Like that's what's going on much of the time.
You definitely have gotten better with it since you had to do shows for so long.
Yeah. Yes. I used to have, when I was upstairs in my office up there, I'm in my basement now. I had to move because we needed green screen for the TNT show. But when I was upstairs, I used to have a Post-it note by my camera that said slow down because I talk too fast. I gave up on that. I just talk fast. I can't help it.
It's all right. You can always look at Muhammad Almazi, and there's always someone who talks faster.
Yeah. Ryan Christian.
Oh my God.
He's my people.
He does like 4-hour show. Like it's insane.
He's my people.
Stuff's coming out of his mouth. Oh,
I love people that talk fast. I struggle so hard with slow speakers. It's painful. Oh, it hurts, especially if I know what you're going to say, and you're like you're a slow talker, and it's taking you forever to get it out. Like it's so hard for me. It's not you, it's me. It's just a me thing. But I've had people complain about that I talk too fast numerous times. I've tried to work on it. I cannot. I've had people say, I don't have to listen to you at 1.5 times. I'm like, no, you don't. You do not. You can just listen. People comment all the like TNT got emails about it. When I'm on Critical Hour with Wilmer and Garland, people in the Rumble, what's it called? The Rumble room. They will talk about it. They'll mention it. I can't.
Hey, it's a short show. You got to get it out.
Oh God, Critical Hour.
Yeah.
Oh, I got 15 minutes.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
15 minutes. You got to talk fast.
Fault lines, Critical Hour, backstory, all of those where it's like 15-minute spots. You either talk fast or you don't get to talk very much at all. It's a 15-minute spot, especially if it's Assange stuff. I know I have to get a lot of information out there, so I'm just trying to squeeze as much as I can into that short time. So that's just the way it's got to go. And also, I just fucking talk fast. No excuses. I just talk fast. I have genuinely tried to work on it because I realize that's not easy for everybody to be able to follow along with. But I'm too old to learn new tricks. I can't teach old dogs new tricks. Too old for that shit. I've always been a fast talker. I'm a fast walker.
I used to be.
I'm an incredibly fast walker, but I also worked in restaurants for years, and the faster you walk, the more money you make. So walk fast. That's what you got to do. Yeah. Okay. So let me think. Do I have any calls to like action or anything? Obviously, House Resolution 934. We need to keep the pressure up on that. Again, like I mentioned earlier, the 16th is the deadline for the U.S. assurances to be submitted. The next scheduled court date, if they are submitted, will then be held on May 20th, I believe. If any of that changes, obviously I'll let you know. There are a ton of events coming up for the 5-year anniversary of his kidnapping, April 11th. Events will be taking place on or around that day. Not everybody will do the 11th. I think it's a Tuesday this year, right?
Check candles for Assange.
Nope. Yeah, Thursday. It's a Thursday this year. So go to Candles, the number 4 Assange. That's Alex Hill's page. She has a whole thread of events that are taking place surrounding the anniversary date. So go check those out. Find one near you. Do all of that good stuff. Make phone calls. Send emails. Hang up flyer. All the stuff that we always tell you to do. Just do whatever you can. The Matt Kennard video. Did you put the those links in the chat? Okay. So save those. Go watch the Juan documentary if you haven't yet. I can't wait till Ithaca comes here. We need Ithaca here now. We really do. Or the Trust Fall. Either one. Yeah. I would really like to have either one of those available in the United States. I think that can make a huge difference. So maybe I'll talk to Kim, the director. He's been on my show a couple times. We really need that in the States.
We do.
We really do. Okay. I don't know when we'll do another vigil. They're just kind of just whenever I'm feeling feisty, I guess, right now. But if stuff happens, we'll have one, obviously. We just did one today because of Collateral Murder. I will probably do one on the 11th. I had to like take a break from organizing. I was very burnt out and stressed out, and I was spending way too much money. And I was just exhausted. So I've backed way off of that over the past year. I think also just the last year when, there was nearly a fist fight and a guy tried to light himself on fire and all of that stuff. I was just kind of over it. Yeah, it's a lot. I was just over it. And I just went too hard for too long. And I just, I
burnout.
I had to step away. I was getting overwhelmed and I was exhausted and I was stressed out all the time. And it's also,
I mean, our goal when we started this was to get more people to do their own actions, and they've done that. So
yeah, for sure.
It's not just us doing it now. So that's
which is great. That was mission accomplished, right? I mean, that was the goal. But I still feel bad when I'm not as engaged as I used to be, and I'm not, you know, doing the organizing and all of that stuff because that's how it's been for so long. But it's just a lot. It's a lot for me to have to try to organize events and get babysitters for my kids and make sure everybody's good here and spending time away from my family and having to drive 6.5 hours there and 6.5 hours back and get Airbnbs and all of that stuff. I don't know. People don't want to hear me complain. I'm just explaining why I've kind of taken a step back. I was burnt out. So I have stepped way back on all of that stuff. I still do like the phone calls and emails, and I do I drive a Jeep, and so we do Duck Duck Jeep. And so I will write Free Assange on little rubber duckies, and we Duck Duck Jeep people, which is one of my favorite little things that we do. Me and my kid loves to do that. She like looks for Jeeps everywhere we go. But that's like just a really quick, easy way to like get the name out there. But yeah, I mean, I just had to step back from the on the ground stuff. It's a lot. It's a lot.
You did it for a lot of years in a row.
Yeah. Yes. It's just really stressful. Like trying to manage everybody's personalities, and
it's like herding cats.
Yeah, and it's expensive as fuck.
It is expensive as fuck.
And yeah. Okay, so I will probably do a vigil on the 11th. Kelly Lane contacted me about potentially co-hosting with her for candidates for Assange, which I love Kelly and I'm happy to do it. I just worry that my very public anti-electoral politics stance might distract away from what she's trying to do. Maybe.
I can understand that.
I guess it just depends on the candidates and how cool they are with me being. I mean, I can just keep it about Assange. I can do that. I'll just keep it about Assange. I don't need to go into my electoral politics bullshit. Because listen, even though I don't agree with electoral politics, having candidates openly speaking about Julian Assange is a win. So
for sure.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I'm not poo-pooing them for that.
I just don't want I don't want it to give people a reason to criticize Kelly. Like, why would you have her co-host? She doesn't even care about electoral politics. I could totally see people doing that. So, which, I mean, it's true. It is very true. So, okay, probably a vigil on the 11th. I have pondered in the past doing like a 24-hour Assange-a-thon to raise like awareness.
It's been a while since we did that shit.
Yeah, I think that we should try to get something like that going. I think that could bring in, and we could have actions throughout. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, that's what we did last time.
Yeah,
it was me and Alex going from bringing in different actions and different,
yeah. I wish I had thought of that before. I don't have time to do something around the 11th like that now. There's no way I can put that together.
Time to get all that together.
But if there's going to be other upcoming, like I said, World Press Freedom Day is May 3rd. I think the Julian's birthday is July 3rd. There's other dates coming up. So if there's a bunch of global stuff, we might try to get some cool people to help me co-host it throughout the 24 hours. See if we can get like Jimmy Dore or Max Blumenthal, Roger Waters, get some big names in here to call some attention to it. I think that would be cool to try to do. Stressful to organize, but it would be cool nonetheless. So, but we'll see. So I would say probably look for a vigil on the 11th. Other than that, I don't know when we'll be back. We don't have a schedule really.
We're in a holding pattern right now. There's not a whole lot of news coming out about this. So.
No, that's why I just wanted to get it going because shit's about to
pop off.
Yeah.
Another month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends. It could just go back into the appeals process, which I think is highly likely.
Probably.
And the can will get kicked down the road until after the election. But in the meantime, we can still try to make this a issue, like something that people are talking about through the election. We can try to call as much attention to it as we can while people are focused on politics who aren't normally focused on politics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of the game plan. That's why I wanted to kind of get back in the swing of things. So if you guys have this past two, we just had like the goal was to be like the OG crew, like, or at least those of us that are left. So me, Sleepy, and Andrew. Andrew obviously has been going through stuff, but I'm open to guests. If you guys want to see guests, let us know who you would be interested in seeing. And be reasonable. Like, I'm not that cool. I can't get Roger. I mean, I might be able to get Roger Waters, but it would take some doing. But I mean, we can try to get guests on. We can do whatever.
I'd love to have
really.
Henningsen on again. We haven't talked.
Patrick, yeah, we're friendly. I wouldn't say we're friends, but we are friendly.
He's came on before. I would love
Yeah.
to have him again.
Yeah, I mean, you said he came on well before
anybody. He didn't have to do that shit.
Yeah.
Like we were little.
And I'm gonna have that guy, the megaphone guy from the
from the last one we
did.
did.
from the I keep wanting to say the decision, but there was no decision. But I'm gonna work with him around his schedule, whatever works for him.
Yeah, so that one might get pre-recorded if the scheduling's too
I mean, he's in the UK, so I think they're like 5 hours ahead of us.
Yeah.
So I'm just whatever he wants to do. I'm happy to work around his schedule as much as we possibly can. And if it's a pre-record, then we'll just put it out whenever. But I would like to talk to him for like 20 or 30 minutes. He's just cool. I like his vibe a lot. I liked his vibe a lot.
Some truth.
He was, and I like people who are good on a megaphone. Glory Jones is good on a megaphone. Andrew's great on a megaphone.
Fiorella is great.
Pasta, great on a megaphone. Pasta's a great like MC. He's really good at.
Dude, Fee barely even needs a damn megaphone. She's loud, man.
Yeah,
it's great. Not as loud as Glory, but
Max Blumenthal's great on a megaphone too. Actually, yeah, we've had some great people on the megaphones. Okay, anyways, I keep getting distracted and prolonging this longer than we need to. So, thanks everybody for tuning in, for hanging out. Doing the damn thing. Again, follow Candles for Assange, find events near you, be events near you. Check out the Matt Kennard video, the Juan Pastorelli documentary. Yeah, I think that's it. So we will see you next time. Yeah, have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy the eclipse and the world falling apart during the eclipse, I guess. I don't know, whatever.
God, one can only hope.
Right. Team Meteor. All right, y'all. Thanks. We'll talk to you next week. Probably.